Let's be honest, if you had a PlayStation 2 back in the mid-2000s, you couldn't avoid World War II shooters even if you tried. Medal of Honor was everywhere, Call of Duty was just getting started, and honestly, it felt like every other game wanted you to storm Normandy yet again, somehow trying to make it feel new. But then there were those bargain bin games, the ones you spotted at your local shop for 10 bucks, tucked away in weird plastic cases with cover art that screamed History Teacher in Crisis. Airborne Troops Countdown to D-Day was one of those. It sort of lived in this gray area between undiscovered classic and complete disaster. So here's the real question. Was this game actually good, or should it have stayed behind enemy lines? The game was made by Mud Duck Productions. Yep, that was their real name. The game landed on PS2 in early 2005, right in the middle of a killer year for games. Think about it, God of War, Resident Evil 4, and Gran Turismo 4. The competition was brutal. On paper, Airborne Troops sounds awesome. You're Sergeant John Welsh, tasked with dropping 2 secret agents into Nazi-occupied France. But the plan blows up fast. You crash and survive behind enemy lines, and suddenly it's all on you. You've got just 48 hours before D-Day to tear through enemy lines and disrupt the Nazi war effort. It's got that old school commando feel, basically the kind of setup that usually gets you excited. So how does it actually play? You're looking at a third-person action-adventure with stealth, though I use stealth the way you use diet when you're eating a salad next to a stack of fries. Honestly, the basics aren't terrible. Moving around feels decent for its time. The game makes a real effort to build some atmosphere. Levels are based on history, and for a budget title, the war-torn France landscapes actually come off pretty well. You get that moody, nothing works and everything's burning vibe of 1944. Then you hit the combat. The shooting is almost a comedy act. Rifles sport these huge reticles that basically say, aim anywhere near the enemy and you'll probably hit him. Just vaguely point in a Nazi's direction and 90% of the time you're a winner. But the stealth, the game tells you to hide in the shadows, but there's no light meter, no visibility gauge, nothing. You just crouch and hope the AI is too busy daydreaming. And the AI, man, they're either geniuses or total idiots. Sometimes they'll see you from across the map through solid walls, and other times you can just moonwalk right behind them because the collision detection took the day off. Now let's get into the whole budget game thing. The voice acting is terrible. Sergeant Welsh comes across like he's narrating a noir detective story, except he's about ready to fall asleep. He'll slip into these dramatic monologues about the French resistance and the mission, but after a couple, you just tune out. It's all atmosphere, no substance. And the sound effects. Gunshots are basically bubble wrap popping in a bathroom. Explosions sound like someone smacking a soggy paper bag against a countertop. Only a low-budget PS2 game really nails that charmingly terrible audio. Now let's talk about the mission design, because that's the real gut punch. You have to complete certain objectives to clear a level, which fine, that makes sense. But in Airborne Troops, if you finish but you mess one tiny optional task, the game doesn't give you a pat on the back or a gentle nudge. Nope, it forces you to start over and do the entire level again. In 2005, that's more psychological warfare than actual combat, and honestly, I wasn't ready for that. Here's the weird part. The shooting feels awkward, the AI's pretty dim, and the voice acting sounds like everyone was slightly delirious in the recording booth. Still, there's some fun hiding in there. If you're willing to embrace the rough edges and see it as a B-movie take on Metal Gear Solid dropped into WW2, it kind of wins you over. Sneaking up on a guard and taking them out with a knife has this satisfying snap to it. The missions don't drag on either. Each level moves quick, so you're never bored. And honestly, the game just feels sincere. It's not trying to outdo Call of Duty or anything. It just wants to be a $10 time killer for when you're stuck inside on a rainy day. And somehow that's enough. So what's the deal with Airborne Troops Countdown to D-Day? Honestly, it's nothing special. You're not getting a hidden gem here. It's clumsy, forgettable, and can be downright annoying sometimes. But there's something oddly interesting about it. It's like a time capsule from when developers hadn't quite nailed the whole third-person stealth genre, especially with limited resources. Somehow it hangs around in your memory, even though it's just average. If you collect PS2 games or you're a World War II fan who's run out of titles, $5 isn't a bad price just to see how weird this one gets. For everyone else, stick with the games you already love. Anyway, that's my take. Did any of you play it back in the day? If so, did you manage to finish a level without rage quitting? Drop your stories in the comments.